high frequency. Yeah. Sync up. Already. Yay. I get up with the frequency each and every morning. Thanks, practice gratitude, commence brainstorming. Live, awake, excited, new day, new me. TSA, courtesy of JRE and Scott Free. Too many folks shallow, scared to drown in the deep end. And I ain't pointing fingers, best believe I was one of them. The pain I was numbing it, self-inflicted punishment. The streets I was running in led me to consciousness. Yes, they can steal my flows, but can't block my shine, baby. You see my glow? Now I live in the light, radiating love. Sun, you're a star, as below, so above. Am I too metaphysical? Are you over analytical? So many situations get critical. I'm a warrior, survivor is an understatement. Started subterranean, now we in the cosmos on some milky wavy shit. Sun-kissed, melanin rich, health is wealth, we live abundant. Connected with the oneness, I'm off my dumb shit. I bring to you substance more specific, life is synchronistic. All is energy, fact, over fiction when I rap. That high frequency, yeah, we on that. Sync with the most divine, catch contact. Physicality beyond that, high frequency, we on that. Mind over matter, thoughts not scattered. Both stars co-creating, spiral up, no latitude, heaven or hell. Then you leave a trail, the high and low polarities, the vibrations, they all real.
From day to day just hoping, going through the motions, staring at the doors, who could ever get this open? Till I uncovered the secret to keeping it real. I got in touch with my soul, expand my frequency field. We play and follow the leader ain't going nowhere. That's why I'm living my life with a sovereign mind. All I want in this world is to spread love and greatness to you, using my music for we out of time. So for the divine, I'm doing my due diligence, giving some peace to views that's too militant. Doing it different, I got purpose and position. Feel the vibration, transmission is the mission. Need you to listen to these words, my dude. I swear my third eye got a bird's eye view. And do you wanna sync up? Cause I do. Surfing this wave, follow as we ride through.
All is energy, fact, over fiction when I rap. That high frequency, yeah, we on that. Sync with the most divine, catch contact. Physicality beyond that, high frequency, we on that. Mind over matter, thoughts not scattered. Co-stars co-creating, spiral up, no latitude, heaven or hell. It's in you, leave a trail. The high and low polarities, the vibrations, they all real.
Let it marinate, cause this is very great. To every state, the burden on my back, well, I carry weight. High frequency, high power, free spirit. Talking to the man upstairs, and yeah, he hear it. Man, I'm riding the wave, inspired by the days when we sparked up, that was the light of the haze. But now I'm synced up, yeah, my drink's up. Am I drinking again? Well, you know, yeah, the gig's up. Freedom ain't free, believe them, they not me. The oppressor knows my melanin rich, and I'm scot-free. That means I got away. BS, not today. Stop and say we good, okay? No more drops today. This the high frequency, they gon' feel this. Still with optimism, but still I'm the realist. They gon' feel this, yeah, real quick. Bring the chorus in. That's real shit.
All is energy, fact, over fiction when I rap. That high frequency, yeah, we on that. Sync with the most divine, catch contact. Physicality beyond that, high frequency, we on that. Mind over matter, thoughts not scattered. Co-stars co-creating, spiral up, no latitude, heaven or hell. It's in you, leave a trail. The high and low polarities, the vibrations, they all real. Peace to the gods, brother Yusuf found. High frequency radio, yeah, we on that. Peace, brother Paul Savage, you already know. You are locked in, tuned in live. High frequency radio. Sync up.
All right, Islam. Shalom, peace. Vadimekum. This is Tarik Bey, your host for Moabite Oasis. I'm honored to be with you today on High Frequency Radio, a humanitarian venue. And as the schedule may allow, on Thursdays to come, the holy name for this Eloah, being day 5 of the week, is Saka'il. And I will be hosting you from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. in the afternoons. We thank and honor you for sharing your time with us, and we trust that our sharing will manifest some good and functionality in helping in the great movement of helping to uplift fallen humanity. And of course, we all know that Thursday, being the 5th day of the week, is ruled by the planet Jupiter. And the holy name for Thursday, which is also called Jueves, is Saka'il. I want to make 2 entries in support, and I want to thank our brother Paul Savagil for the dispensation that he shared with the family on his show just preceding this entry, and remind everyone that we don't get caught up in throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And keep in mind, according to the universe and according to the transits of the sun and according to the cosmological principles and registries of the ephemerides of the universe, as established by the ancient ones of the planet, our people, Asiatics, Africans, etc., we measure the days of the sun, which comes from the Sanskrit word halig, which means the sun, and he burns. And by the primal energies and reflections of the energies of the sun on the major planets and on our planet, the Earth, which is where we domicile at this time, we measure those energies, and so we refer to those primal nova periods in the cycles of the sun as days halig, or sun days, days of the sun, or halig days, or halig degrees, holidays. So the major primal points are the winter solstice, summer solstice, vernal equinox, and autumnal equinox or fall equinox, which would be demonstrated by a circle with 4 open gaps at each of the circle, conforming or formulating what is called the ethereal cross or the mundane cross, the holy cross. Therefore, it is incumbent upon us to understand that the celebration of the winter solstice is ours. And the European just simply put the name Christmas on it in order to take credit. And then he commercializes it and places himself in positions that he has no originality in. So let us not confuse the commercialization with our halig days or days of the sun with any corruptions or misdirections presented by Rome for their own personal economic, political, and control benefit. And I also want to thank the brother for coming on earlier when he mentioned our brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and his dispensations in the Final Call newspaper, which I'm sure that all of you are familiar with in our communities because we support our own. And to the degree that he presented, that much of the problem comes from the lie. So let's talk about the lie. And I also want to thank the brother for exposing the fact of the gangs, that the police order is really a gang. It originates as a gang, and that's what it is. Something cannot be other than what it originates as. And so one of the things I want to make a point or reference to is that our people need to go back to fundamental principles and understand that law and history conjoin. Jurisprudence, which is the science and the study of positive law and all systems of law, is loosely referred to by the masses as law, but the principle or the discipline is jurisprudence. Jurisprudence and history or chronology of the activities of humans conjoin. They are to be taught together. One of the things that causes confusion amongst our people is that truth, as distinguished from the lie, has not been properly or commonly instituted or maintained in the educational systems amongst people who are suffering European occupation. And so, therefore, our people have the tendency to think that those subject matters are separate. And therefore, when we look at the problems that affect us negatively in our communities, we have a tendency to approach the chronologies of things that occur historically without attaching to it the law or ens legis, etc., companions to them or the law. And therefore, we usually are absent of remedy because we never look at these things in that context, which we should be doing at all times. So I'm respectfully giving honor and props to the brother for bringing to the attention to the listeners at High Frequency Radio that the policemen are gangs. The other issue is they're not officers because they're not elected by the people. They're employees for the corporations. And that must be understood. And we mention it continuously and have even given in the past law cases that keep telling the people that policemen are not in business for serving the securities of the public. They're in business for serving the securities and the contracts for the corporations. Therefore, our people should not be surprised the negative attitudes that they show. It is not incidental to individuals. That is based in their foundation policies. And the sooner we stop deluding ourselves into thinking that they're officers, which they are not, and stop giving them that honor, they will accept the power that you bestow upon them according to the law of trust when you state it. So when you call them officers, they accept your offer and start acting, or should we say pretending to be officers of the law. They are private contractors for imposed corporate contracts, which is why the first thing they usually ask people for is license and insurance, both of which are contracts to private, foreign, unconstitutional entity orders that generate finance against the people's liberties that have been converted into crimes. Now, that's the truth that is supposed to be presented to people so they can understand the lie. The lie is their concepts to the contrary of what was just stated. Uncomfortable? True. Disheartening somewhat? True. Disappointing? Yep, all that kind of stuff. Depressing? Could be. European colonial operation oppression? Yep, that's what it is. How long is it going to take us to figure this out? How many generations do we have to sacrifice and continue to march and pray and go around in circles and keep overlooking the fact that these people are foreign Europeans that are operating on documented agendas? They're not thinking this stuff up. They're not operating on attitude. They're operating on written agendas. It's called the Spanish Inquisition. It's called the Secret Treaty of Verona. It's called the Doctrine of Discovery. It's called the Christian Black Codes of 1724. And it's called the 14th Amendment Corps, created under spurious terms as a field marshal for controlling Aboriginal people who have been tagged and branded as Negroes, blacks, and coloreds. Why do these people keep pretending they don't know history and that they don't understand why these police, Roman soldier contractors are hostile to who they themselves are taught are enemies? Now, I know that people like to delude themselves with this idea that, they really don't understand, and some of them, and if we protest and make them kind of understand that we're people, I suggest that anybody who really wants to understand the real relationship they have between the Roman soldiers and themselves, look at the movie Avatar. They're telling you exactly what they're doing. And, of course, the people don't understand that the unity that they need is called, in a political forum, nationality. And they keep forgetting that the Europeans are the alien. The other deal is, respectfully, I know a lot of times when our people are having discussions on the social engineering problems that take place on our land, which is America, stop charging the land, America, for what the foreign Europeans are doing under their corporate entity styled as United States Corporation Company. It's several corporate states and the franchisees, institutions, and corporate entities that are constructed and licensed by them to do business at Morocco, which is the land, at North America, which is the continent. So America doesn't do anything to the indigenous people. We are the Americans. We have been set upon by Europeans who are doing stuff. The other issue of truth that must be told to the people so they can stop deluding themselves is that the United States Corporation Company is a UK colony. Whew. Distinguished from the people of the land who are the Americans. You got to stop calling them Americans. And you got to stop trying to be somebody that you're not, like the brands that they've given you, Negro, black, colored, Indian, West Indian, whatever you think you are this week, that they've called you, that you keep taking on, to your injury, that in law makes you stateless person, and in law, as far as the state is concerned, designates what is called a non-descendable person. And, of course, that would leave a person open to confiscation under the Christian Black Codes, and, of course, such persons would be delegated or relegated as wards of the state. And there you have the wardship tenure operations of the U.S. corporate entities, persons doing business at Morocco, and then they put a yellow fringe around their trading banner to demonstrate the same, and then start executing their piracy rules under booty and prize under admiralty law, which they brought on the land. How many generations it takes for our people to start dealing with the facts? Stop dealing with the emotions of trying to, can we all get along? We've been trying to get along with them. That's why you have the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And they've been trying to exterminate us. That's why you have the King Alfred Plan. So let's go into the King Alfred Plan, the military plan manual that all these so-called police departments possess, including all of the so-called overseers that they have, these black so-called, they call themselves black leaders who are appointed as overseers for them, who are really agents for central and federal. And this is documented. It's no secret. You know, we need to stop playing dumb and start taking responsibility and recognize that we need to stop dealing with emotionalism and start dealing with the facts. And while they're uncomfortable, until the people start dealing with reality, they will not be unplugged from that false matrix. And, of course, as long as they're plugged to that false matrix, they're food for the Roman gods. And that's what it is. That's what colonialism is. And we can say it redundantly and redundantly and redundantly. Trust one day it will catch on. A colonist is to the realm of the political world the equal to what a leech is to biology. They're both exploiters and bloodsuckers. At what point and how many generations do we need to sacrifice for us to start dealing with that reality? Now let's go into Executive Order 11490. The military name given by the Europeans who occupying Morocco at North America is designated King Alfred with an addendum, Rex 84 plan. And this manual is a control or an engineering manual that is given to all departments of government under the United States Corporation Company franchise, which is not a country. The United States Corporation Company is no different than the India Pacific Company under a different name. The sooner these people understand this, and it's fact, provable, we are going to what? Keep believing the lies because they've controlled the education of our people. And we keep on building these spy centers in our communities and calling them churches. And then lying on the Nazarene saying that he was a Christian even though the book says he was a Jew. Lies again. And so as long as we keep supporting lies, we will suffer the consequences of our dishonesty. Because nature and divine law does not recognize person or station. And so while we want to play denial and keep sacrificing our baby to these foreign European Roman colonists, it's sort of like equal guilt in this whole scenario of this human drama. Now, within their document, and understand what I'm going to read to you, you already know that they will have some connotative linguistics in it, and so therefore it must be qualified. So I'm reading directly from the military manual, King Alfred, Executive Order 11490. Infiltrated organizations under surveillance. 1, the Black Muslims. 2, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, Congress of Racial Equality. 4, Uhuru Movement. 5, Groups on Advanced Leadership Goal. 6, Freedom Now Party, FNP. 7, United Black Nationalists of America, UBNA. 8, the New Pan-African Movement, TNPAM, that's for the New Pan-African Movement. 9, the National Urban League, NUL. 10, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. 11, Committee on Racial and Religious Progress, COROP. Note, at the appropriate time to be designated by the President, the leaders of some of these organizations are to be detained only when it is clear that they cannot prevent the emergency. Working with local public officials during the first critical hours. All other leaders are to be detained at once. Compiled list of minority leaders have been readied at the National Data Computer Center. It is necessary to use the minority leaders designated by the President in much the same manner in which we use minority members who are agents with central and federal. And we cannot, until there is no alternative, reveal King Alfred in all its aspects. Minority members of Congress will be unseated at once. This move is not without precedent in American history. Attorney General. Preliminary memo, Department of Defense. This memo is being submitted in lieu of a full report from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That report is now in preparation. There will be many cities where the minority will be able to put into the street a superior number of people with a desperate and dangerous will. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage and knows that political asylum will not be available to him in other countries. The greatest concentration of the minority is in the deep south, the eastern seaboard, the Great Lakes region, and the West Coast. While the national population exceeds that of the minority by more than 10 times, we must realistically take into account the following. 1. An estimated 40 to 50% of the white population will not, for various reasons, engage the minority during an emergency. 2. American armed forces are spread around the world. A breakout of war abroad means fewer troops at home to handle the emergency. 3. Local law enforcement officials must contain the emergency until help arrives, though it may mean fighting a superior force. New York City, for example, has a 25,000-man police force, but there are about 1 million minority members in the city. We are confident that the minority could hold any city it took for only a few hours. The lack of weapons, facilities, logistics, all put the minority at a final disadvantage. Since the Korean War, this department has shifted minority members of the armed forces to areas where combat is likely to occur, with the aim of eliminating through combat as many combat-trained minority servicemen as possible. Today, the ratio of minority member combat deaths in Vietnam, where they are serving as quote-unquote advisors, is twice as high as the minority population ratio to the rest of America. Below is the timetable for King Alfred, as tentatively suggested by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who recommend that the operation be over a period of 8 hours. 1. Local police and minority leaders in action to head off the emergency. 2. Countdown to 8 hours begins at the moment the president determines the emergency to be A. National, coordinated, C. Of long duration, 8th hour. 3. County police join local police, 7th hour. 4. State police join county and local forces, 6th hour. 5. Federal marshals join state, county, and local forces, 5th hour. 6. National Guards, federalized, held in readiness, 4th hour. 7. Regular armed forces alerted, take up positions. Minority troops divided and detained along with all white sympathizers under guard. 3rd hour. 8. All minority leaders, national and local, detained, 2nd hour. 9. President addresses minority on radio and television. Gives it 1 hour to end the emergency, 1st hour. 10. All units under regional commands into the emergency, 0 hour. 0 committee report. Survey shows that during a 6-year period, production created 9 million objects, or 1,500,000 each year. Production could not dispose of the containers, which proved a bottleneck. However, that was almost 20 years ago. We suggest that vaporization techniques be employed to overcome the production problems inherent in King Alfred, signed off Secretary of Defense. And they divide the central part of North America, that's under the United States Corporation Company jurisdiction, into 10 regions for the concentration camps for persons designated as blacks, Latinos, or poor whites, etc. 1, Capital Region. 2, Northeast Region. 3, Southeast Region. 4, Great Lakes Region. 5, South Central Region. 6, Deep South Region. 7, Deep South Region 2. 8, Great Plains and Mountain Region. 9, Southwest Region 2. 8, Great Plains and Mountain Region. 9, Southwest Region. 10A, West Coast North Region. 10B, West Coast South Region. That's part of the military training manual that's given. It's in the hands of all politicians, mayors, governors, and their so-called agents with central and federal as designated here. And so they will always have those agents who will conveniently show up and argue racism, which is not the problem. Race is the human species, but that's their job. They're called overseers. They're agents for central and federal. This is their document. So when our people keep on acting like they don't know what's going on, they're in denial or they're full of doo-doo. That's how you recognize who the agents are, because they're not going to tell the people the truth about what they're suffering from, which is what? The doctrine of discovery, which is the genocide doctrine from which this King Alfred plan is derived. So is the 14th Amendment derived from these principles. So are the straw man that they've been injuring our people with. So is the fraud committed in these mortgage foreclosures. All of them are rooted in the doctrine of discovery. And the police departments and all so-called corporate entity officials have this manual, and they operate accordingly. They don't have bad attitudes. They're carrying out corporate policy of European colonial operations at Morocco. So you all brothers and sisters out there that keep playing these black games, stop pretending y'all don't know this stuff. It's uncomfortable because our people have got lax, lazy, and in denial. And they like to pray themselves out of this problem because they won't take responsibility, and they keep on delivering their children to these demons. And then as soon as the demons miseducate them, they want to argue and march and pray and talk about they're miseducating our children. Well, what do you expect a colonist to do? He's there to exploit. He's not there to help. Therefore, it's incumbent upon us to turn our hearts back to our ancient mothers and fathers and go back to those principles of love, true peace, freedom, and justice, and reinstill them in our communities. Because if we think for 1 minute that the contractor enforcers hired by the corporations to do their dirty work, called the Police Fraternal Orders, which is a private non-profit organization of gangs who go out and rob the people and then use the finance that they rob the people to buy uniforms and to set up offices and to look legitimate. That's what's been going on across this country. Now, that's the real truth, and it's documented. As a matter of fact, they were talking about this morning where in Ferguson, where they've been losing revenues, they're already instructing the police contractors to go out and profile people to generate finances for any little thing that they can possibly come up with. Not only that, at Washington, D.C., they've been doing that for years, and someone revealed the records that they openly have been saying that. But anybody who knows that the policemen are really gangs would not be surprised. The great lie is people keep thinking that they are public officials. They're not public officers. They are private contractors from a gang enforcing the contracts upon the people that are initiated by the private farm for profit corporate entity persons who are beneficiaries of the banks who are working for the popes of Rome under the secret Treaty of Verona. So stop acting like y'all don't know this. And stop lying to your babies talking about his racism and prejudice. It's the doctrine of discovery. Stop faking. Anyway, I want to go on a little bit more and talk about why is it that almost all of these so-called leader guys that always interject themselves into the communities with these marching and prayings all the time, etc., why are 99% of them so-called reverends? It's not hard to find out. It's not hard to know why. Do you know why? It's because most of them are just what they say in King Alfred. They are what? Agents for central and federal. Now, and for people who keep on playing like they don't know that fact, we can go right to the congressional record again and look at the secret Treaty of Verona, because it's documented, and I'm going to read you the secret oath that all the clergy have that the masses generally aren't aware of. And so that everybody doesn't get all emotional, let's just deal with the facts, you all. And for those who don't read, please start reading, because you can go to the congressional records, which is the document of all legislation that takes place at North America under the colorable jurisdiction of the United States Corporation Company and its franchisees. Here you go. Secret Treaty of Verona. This is American Diplomatic Code. It's documented. This is the oath of the clergy. And for those of you who don't listen very well, this information shall be archived. Article 3, convinced that the principles of religion contribute most powerfully to keep the nations in the state of passive obedience which they owe to their princes, the high contracting parties declare it to be their intention to sustain in their respective states those measures which the clergy may adopt with the aim of ameliorating their own interests, intimately connected with the preservation of the authority of the princes, and the contracting parties join in offering their thanks to the Pope for what he has already done for them, and solicit his constant cooperation in their views of submitting the nations. Article 3 of the Secret Treaty of Verona comprises the secret oath of the clergy to the Pope. That ain't Jesus. That ain't God. That's not Allah. That's the Pope. Now, whether that's wrong or right, that's a matter of opinion. But that's who they're really serving. And right here, in their own document, they are telling the people that they're submitting them to Jesus. And right here in their secret oath, they're submitting the nations to the Pope. They say that they're driving for using religion to contribute to the people's obedience to Jesus, but here it says passive obedience that they owe to their princes. You got a multiplicity of contradictions here in what the people believe and what the facts are. And therefore, we're making the distinction between lie which is the assumptions that have been promoted amongst our people by both Europeans and Asiatic marching, praying leader guys, and the fact documented in congressional records as to what is actually going on and what's always been going on. So what we have here is a bunch of people that are in denial and keep on looking for some kind of mystery straw to solve their problems because they don't want to deal with reality, or they don't want to unplug from this false matrix constructed by the Europeans who are occupying our land, who are not Americans, and who our people keep calling Americans. They're not Americans. They're European occupiers of your land. And an occupier is not there to make you peanut butter sandwiches. He's there to steal yours if you got them. I don't know how long it's going to take our people to come out of denial and recognize, acknowledge they're waging war on you first before you can begin to have any resolution on anything. Denial is like the ostrich. Here comes in Jurassic Park. Here comes these big dragons and dinosaurs run through the countryside. And the ostrich is kind of slow. So I said, well, I'm going to stick my head in the sand so they won't see me. Well, anyway, ostriches stick their heads in the sand denying the presence of the monsters, and all of a sudden they feel a real cool breeze across their buttocks. And when they pull their head out, they notice that they don't have any feathers on their butt and one of their cheeks is missing. And it's the same thing that keeps happening to our people who keep on denying that police, which is the truth, is a private gang. And what they've been doing is robbing the people for the corporations with whom they have contracts. And their major job, just like the Barristers Association, which they call the ABA, which is an organization of England that's occupying North America, their job is to overthrow the Republican form of government, which they don't hide. They do it every day. That's why our people are packing the jails, because they're carrying out their doctrine of discovery, of breaking up the family, and genocide, which is also not denied right here in the King Alfred Plan Executive Order 11490, where they are deliberately destroying the family. Also, with the code system that came directly from the church, designated the Christian Black Code of 1724. It's not a secret. Fact of it is that half of our people keep on not looking at reality, claiming to be Christians and funding their own enslavement as if they're on the side of Jesus when they're really on the side of the very Romans that murdered the Nazarene. Of course, this is all documented, and of course people will get all sensitive. Oh, you're attacking my religion. No, it's not about religion. It's about the real politics. And the fact that people think that these people are working in their favor, and they're actually setting orders and institutions and ends legis, spurious 14th Amendment arguments to turn the living into a corpse. That's why the 14th Amendment is declared the corpse amendment that creates the corporation, artificial person. So we need to get real, and we need to stop being emotional and understand that Romaine plan, they've been doing this stuff to you for quite a while, and we need to grow up, and we need to look at what is really affecting our people, although it's uncomfortable, because it cannot be denied in our families. We all have people in our families that have some uncles and aunts that have gone to war, whether Vietnam, Korea, the Philippines, etc. Everywhere where these Romans have been going around the world, murdering Aboriginal people and stealing their resources and then genociding them. Come on. Stop acting like y'all don't know. As soon as these people are out of a JOB for 3 months, they go into the service out with a bunch of promises and are willing to take a firm stand and a weapon to remove the lives of their own family around the world to keep this Roman in power, and then they come back and march and pray, and then call him Great White Father, which means sovereign, and then wonder why they keep catching hell. Divine law says that these people must compensate for the injuries that they've aided Rome in doing around the world. So I think what's required of these people who think that human beings are crayons is to turn their hearts back to their ancient mothers and fathers, lest the earth be smitten with a curse. And I would like to take, in a minute, the Bible, a reference, since our people, since our people always say that they all know the Bible and they're in the Bible and they're religious and all of these things, that they should know the book that they make their claims on. Because the book, as the Old Testament closes out, it talks about, I think it has only like four chapters, and that's the book of Malachi. And so we're going to take a break, you all, on High Frequency Radio, and we'll come back, and I'm going to go from the Bible for these people who keep thinking that claim to be Christians, funding their own enslavement, etc. And we're going to look some references that actually is about them. I don't think some of them know that. This is High Frequency Radio, you all, helping them the great missionary work of uplifting fallen humanity. Be back to you in a minute. Let's do a little bit of commercial.
High Frequency Radio. Sync up.